What's up, J Fusion Fast? This is Philip here with another video. So this time around, let's review, finally, Kamen Rider Zero One Others. Now, this review will take a look at all the other, uh, spin-offs from the Kamen Rider Zero One series, of course, with the Metsubo Jindai, Vulcan, and Valkyrie. Well, Vulcan and Valkyrie actually are in that same spin-off. So anyway, let's talk about it. Now, before we begin, I would like to remind everyone that these videos are not intended for viewers under the age of 13. And in order to talk about this video in some significant detail, maybe, some spoilers, just to, just a spoiler warning to be safe. So if you haven't seen uh, Kamen Rider Zero One Others yet, you will be able to find some sources if you do search them online. Just don't tell Toei. Shh. But anyways, let's move on with the video. So let's start off with the Kamen Rider Metsubo Jindai spin-off. So we do see here that the four members of MetsumoJinrai.net, of course, are the main characters. I'm not gonna necessarily say protagonists nor villains, because it's really a very confusing mix. Because we do see them as uh, kind of the good guys now, especially during the events of the Zero One movie. Like they did help Aruto and the rest of the team, or if you want to call them a team. So they did help. So they ended up as good guys after that. But with this spin-off, we kind of see them turn bad again. But this is not on their own doing. We have kind of our main villain, and I guess I could say that uh, he's the main villain of Kamen Rider Zero One in general, but he only appears in this particular spin-off. So yes, that's Leon Arkland, aka Kamen Rider Zaya. So he reveals that he's basically the one who orchestrated everything from the beginning, which is why we have Arc. So yes, kind his name kind of gives it away, Leon Arkland. So a very interesting choice there, sir. Good on you. So, anyways, uh, he is this kind of weapons merchant, you would say, and his plan is to develop Arc so that Humagears will rise up against humanity and then sell his own weapons, things like, the raid risers and everything that you saw uh, Zaya Enterprise create and sell during the course of the series. They sell again. They make these things available to the general public, so that business is booming and chaos ensues, and that's what Leon wants. So, yep, this guy is the main reason for Kamen Rider Zero One in the first place. But uh, even after Leon Arkland exits the scene, so we are still left with Kamen Rider Mitsubo Jindai, and well, I guess I can say without spoiling too much and revealing all the details. So basically, uh, all the Metsubo Jinrai Humagears are gone at this point. But there's only Kamen Rider Metsubo Jinrai remaining, and the supposed, reformed villains have now turned back to their evil ways. Again, from how I see it, it's not really their intention to be evil. They just were turned evil. No thanks to Leon Arkland, and because we have a bad guy again, so this kind of leads us into the Vulcan and Valkyrie spinoff. So I have Valkyrie here actually. So, and yep, this is the Justice Serval. So now we're moving on to their story. I don't have Vulcan though because I care more about Yua. So there you go. Now this, from what I see, well, I'm pretty sure Toei isn't really gonna be good with their consistencies, but for all intents and purposes, let's just say that this Vulcan and Valkyrie spinoff is the final installment of Kamen Rider Zero One. And yes, like everything ends here. Although we can technically say that Realize is the final uh, kind of episode, the final story in the Zero One franchise. But I believe that's Aruto's story that's ending. But with the others, again, Vulcan, Valkyrie, and the rest. So this is their conclusion. Therefore, you know, uh, with endings finally, given to everyone, Zero One ends here, supposedly, unless Toei is going to have another project involving Aruto. But I'm pretty sure that's not gonna be likely in the near future. I guess we could see them appear in some cameos, like for example, like superhero Senki or whatnot. The generations, uh, and whatever have you, like all riders coming together. I guess we can just make up some excuse for why they're going to appear again. But at least if we're going to focus on the story of Kamen Rider Zero One as a whole, this should be the final entry. Now, uh, before I say anything about the movie, whether it's good or bad, which is basically the main point of this video, why I'm actually making this. So let's get into the story just a little bit. Again, spoiler warning, but I'm not going to say anything much, that I'm not gonna go into more details. So this is going to be more of a broad summary of the story. So picking up from the Metsubo Jinrai spin-off, so Metsubo Jinrai is causing havoc once again. So at least it's just one entity and not the organization created by Horobi and the rest of the other Humagears that went with him. So yeah. And then there are these new Humagears, so created by uh, Zaya, and these Humagears are more a bit more human in their um, behaviors. So they're basically patterned after Jin, actually, after he was rebuilt. Uh, so which is why their earpieces are more similar to him than any other Humagear created by hidden intelligence, for example. So again, these Zaya produced Humagears are actually more sentient than compared to the hidden intelligence ones. So uh, they do decide to stand up for themselves, but this means that they're gonna have to destroy humanity as well. However, again, because they are sentient, they're thinking on their own, and therefore it's not actually, influenced by a computer virus or something, as it would appear, let's say, compared to, again, all of the Humagears in the TV series. Anytime they go berserk, or anytime they would surrender to the will of uh, Arc and Metsubojinrai.net. So again, these Zaya Humagears actually are doing it, or creating chaos on their own. So we do have two important uh Humagears here. So Sold 9 and Sold 20, who were first introduced in the Metsubo Jinrai spin-off. And of course, they meet up with the Yua and the Isamu respectively, and uh, of course, they have their interactions. Let's say, in the case of Fua, and I believe it's Sold 9, so the male one. So Sold 9 asks why you fight, what's justice for you? I think the same discussion goes with the Yua and Sold 20 as well. So each of course, Vulcan and Valkyrie. So they explain their reasons for fighting, and we also see here that, again, as proof of their sentience. So Soul 9 and Soul 20 have their different reasons for fighting. No, and they have their different causes. So Soul 9, so the one who was talking to Isamu, wants to stand up against humanity, and Soul 20 actually wants to defend humanity. So again, we see the clear distinctions between the Humagears made by Zaya and the hidden intelligence ones. So again, they have, or they're able to think of their own purpose, as to, compared to the, again, hidden Humagears, who are programmed to do whatever they do, and they have no um, sense of purpose that uh, is inherently theirs. So, like, for example, if I were out of the right, or if I were someone from hidden intelligence making a Humagear, so I would program this robot to be, let's say, a chef, for example. So this Humagear will already do things, like cooking and stuff. So of course that's what they're programmed to do, and you know their kind of awakening, when they become a singularity, like, yes, this is what I'm intended to do. But we can say that the Zaya Humagears have already been given, or they're already at that point of singularity the moment they boot up. So that's I would say that they're more advanced in that regard. So anyways, of course, Kamen Rider Metsubo Jindai enters the scene, causes havoc, and Yua is the first to fight. So she's unable to, uh, you know, earlier in the film, I guess. So it is a V cinema, but let's say it's a direct to DVD movie, right? So, anyways, earlier in the movie, so she fights using her regular rushing cheetah. That doesn't work. So sold 20 tries to gives you the pro rise key, or actually it's a Zetsume rise key that she has, so giving it to Yua. But since the shot riser isn't really optimized for using the Zetsume rise keys, so there are some complications, and we could explain why Yua was only using this form for just a minute, if more or less. She was so the fight scene in this form only lasted just about a minute, and she's basically defeated, and then we move on to Isamu. Now, Isamu had it worse, I think. So in his case, his shot riser was shot to the point that it was destroyed. So he had to go to uh, hidden intelligence for help, and Aruto. So yes, Aruto does appear, but his role is very much minor one. So he does help out Isamu, and later on we see him transform into. Uh, so okay, so let's dial it back a little bit. So okay, Isamu goes to Aruto for help, and we see Isamu later on. We kind of skip scenes, or the scene kind of skips to where Isamu directly confronts Metsubo Jinrai, and he holds his own Zero One driver, but how he's able to use that, so of course you're going to have to see it for yourselves. Now, he uses two things here. So Sold 9 gives him his own, or gives Isamu his Zetsume Rise key, and then Isamu combines it with the assault trigger, which was, by the way, modified earlier by Naki. So this modified trigger, or assault trigger, no longer has the risk of being overtaken by arc. So basically, it's a safer version of the assault trigger. So okay, he attaches it, uses it, and transforms into Lone Wolf. And of course, Isamu succeeds because, as he should, but well, things that happen after that, not so good. But anyways, let's skip to the final scene because everything else in between that is not as important. So uh, there's a trial, okay, and I think it was the Minister of Defense. So he also kind of became Yua's new boss after becoming captain of Ames, because uh, Ames is still in charge of uh, going after rogue human gears, because that's been their job, right? Uh, Ever since the beginning in the TV show. So, anyways, uh, so there's so this Minister of Defense is having a speech about, or I think he's kind of calling for a referendum. Not really a trial, because he's the one who's in front and in charge, but he's calling for everyone's support to, uh, you know, basically uh, revoke human gear rights. Like, he basically sees all human gears as tools, which was Yua's exact train of thought, you know, but that was way before. Right now, she has completely changed. And with that, Yua swears to fight for all life, whether you're human or humagear, you have your own rights. So she stands up to who's supposedly her new boss, and she has both Soul 9 and Soul 20 with her tagging along, and we see them as new AIMS members as well. And then at the back of the room, we do see the four members of metsubojinrai.net. So Yuwa speaks out. She gives her most profound speech about basically, uh, coexisting with human gears and such. So all that stuff. And then the ending scene. So we start with the Yua, Sold 9, and Sold 20 walking out of this conference room. And of course, they take a turn to the left at the end of the hallway. And later on, we see uh, the four members of Metsubo Jindai, and then Isamu. But unlike Yua and the Solds, well, something different happens to the five of them. So yes, Metsubo, Jinai, and Isamu have kind of a uniquely different exit, let's say. Now, let's talk about this ending and basically how Zero One ends in general. Now, I think this should be the most important point. Is this a proper ending to the series? Well, personally, so this is how I thought of it. Like, it definitely could have been better, okay? But even so, looking at it, so like, things should have been like this, things should have been like that. So, did I enjoy how it ended? Well, honestly, not. But here's the thing. I did find a couple of interesting and actually profound, reviews from a few friends on Facebook, and this is how they try to make sense of the ending. And upon reading it, like, I thought to myself, I never thought of it that way. So I'm still unsatisfied, not gonna lie, but at least things make more sense after reading those reviews from my other friends that I've seen on Facebook. So the first point that I'm going to talk about. So uh, basically, this is about Isamu. So uh, if you've been following him for the entirety of the show, right? So he was all about crushing Humagears. That was his purpose. But after realizing that he's wrong, he seems to have he seems to kind of lost his you know uh his purpose. You would say he's kind of lost his motivation to live, and well, not really lose his motivation to live, but he does seem lost. So uh if you remember, after he quit Ames, he was basically unemployed. He was unemployed. At least I think Aruto kind of gave him a job, as his, you can say, chief of security. So for a time, we could say he was somewhat working under Aruto, but nonetheless, at least, he saw being a Kamen Rider as an opportunity to protect mankind. But I think, to his core, Isamu hasn't changed. So basically, at the end of this spin-off, he's still lost. and he realizes that there's no place for someone like him and his kind of outdated beliefs. So I guess that was his conviction for fighting. Now, Yua, however, I would say she really did well with her new conviction. So uh, definitely much of a character change. She originally only saw human gears as tools, but eventually learns to accept them as individuals as well, and therefore now she fights to protect all life, whether you're human or human gear. So again, things kind of work out, but for Metsubo Jinrai, how their ending goes, I think we see them right change. So uh, they spent most of their time, showing that they hate humanity. It's the will of Ark and whatnot. But of course, at during the events of the movie, realize we do see them change, and we do see them learn their true purposes. But here, with the spin-offs, again, we do see them turn villains again, albeit unwittingly. I would say they kind of were forced to become villains once again. But I see their exit as something that like we've like uh, you guys take care of things from here. Like we don't want us, or we don't want ourselves to be used for evil ever again. And I think that's what was going on through the minds of all the members of metsubojinai.net. So uh, is it a happy ending? Obviously not. Obviously not. It's solemn, I would say, but again, with those opinions that I've seen before, help me make sense of what is happening, and in the end, like personally, it's not the best way to end Kamen Rider Zero One, but it still fits in a way. So with each character having their own ideals, their own convictions being proven by the end. So overall, it was fine. So like, at least, again, with the help of those opinions, like my view of the Zero One others spin-offs in general, so they kind of went up really after that. So it was generally okay. Again, the ending could have been better. Probably not the kind of ending everyone, or at least most of the people, would hope, but it makes sense if you really look into the characters. So I think maybe I think you should rewatch the entire show to see how it matches up, right? So like, where is this ideal coming from? So maybe you should rewatch the entire show to see where it comes from. So yeah, anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please do leave a like, comment, share this video, subscribe, and don't forget that notification bell so you get the latest from GE Fusion. This has been Philip, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.